I'm Stephanie Checkley, and I'm a Minnesota native, and I also sell real estate in the Twin Cities and around Minnesota. And there are a number of things that you'll want to watch out for when purchasing property in the Twin Cities, and I'm going to give you a really honest picture of what those things are. So number one, water intrusion. Water is the enemy of a home, and we want to keep water out of the house and away from the house. This is an especially important consideration in Minnesota, where we get lots and lots of snow during winter months, which then goes through a freeze-melt cycle. And we get a lot of rain during the spring and summer as well. And what that means is lots of opportunities for water to try to get into the house or around the house. So when you're looking at property here, you'll want to look at a few things. So first of all, look at the roof to see how the water is being diverted off the roof. What is the pathway for that water to come down? Check out to make sure that the house has gutters. Not all houses have gutters, and that the gutters are well maintained, and that they're not clogged full of leaves or branches, and that the gutters have downspouts, and that the downspouts are actually properly diverting water away from the house and not just dumping it at the foundation of the house to then have an opportunity to pool and seep in. Bonus if the downspouts are buried and go underground at a downward angle to deposit water farther away from the house. But if the downspouts just have hinges and an arm, it means that they can be stored out of the way and people are less likely to trip over them if it's in a walkway. Another consideration with keeping water away from the house is how the house sits on the lot. So in an ideal world, the house would be slightly elevated and the ground would be sloping away from the house. But as we know, that doesn't always happen. So what we want to avoid is the ground sloping toward the house, because then water can pool around the foundation and get into the house. And that's when we get water in the basement and other problems that can occur over time. If the property is sloped toward the house, then some grading will need to be done. And grading just refers to the process of building earth up so that it can draw water away from the house. You'll also want to check if the house is drain tiled. Drain tiling is basically a little ditch that's built or dug around the foundation of the house so that if water seeps in, it doesn't have the opportunity to pool in the basement, but is diverted to a sump basket, where a motorized sump pump pumps it out and deposits it outside of the house. So the second thing is the roof. We have periodic hailstorms here in Minnesota. We got 2 this summer alone, and those hailstorms can cause a lot of damage to roofs. Not just the roof on the house, but on the garage and any outbuildings as well, such as a shed or a pole barn. So if you're thinking about buying property in Minnesota and the roof hasn't been inspected and it's at least a few years old, your real estate agent should definitely be recommending that that roof gets professionally inspected. If there has been hail damage to the roof, that can cause water to be able to get in and cause water damage to the ceilings and walls, which can also then in time lead to mold. So it's much more cost effective for you as a buyer to have a roof inspection prior to buying, to ensure that if there is damage to the roof, the seller can just go through their insurance company to have that repaired or replaced and just pay their deductible prior to you closing on the property. The third thing to watch out for is radon, although you can't really watch out for it because it's a colorless, odorless gas. A lot of people don't even know what radon is, but it's pretty common in Minnesota. I estimate that probably half of the homes I've sold this year alone either have radon mitigation systems or tested well above the safe levels for radon, so had to have a radon mitigation system installed. Radon is a gas that's emitted from the ground, and it's the number 2 cause of lung cancer in the United States. So it's really important to make sure of radon levels in the house. Luckily, it's very easy to test for and relatively inexpensive to do that testing, and it's a totally reasonable inspection request when purchasing property if you do find radon. Radon is measured in a unit called picocuries, and if the radon testing reveals a level higher than 4 picocuries, then you'll want to make sure a radon mitigation system is installed to keep yourself and your family safe. Luckily, even if you have to pay for the installation of that system, you're looking at around $1,650, which for most people when purchasing property wouldn't be a deal breaker. So those are the top 3 things that I recommend you watch out for when you're purchasing property in Minnesota. Drop me a comment below if you agree, or if you think I've missed anything, or if you've had any experience with issues like this. And again, if you like this comment, please subscribe to my channel and like this video.